Hello, good afternoon, you amazing foundation humans. My name is Mr. FT. This is Madeline FT. This is my daughter. Now, we've been talking about weather, and we've spoken about Mr. Wolf's week, and he had all different types of weather, and he had all different types of clothing for all different types of weather. We've even discussed the wind, and we know we can't see the wind, it's invisible. We did try and catch it, and I did catch it in my big plastic kind of mat, my blanket. Well, this time I want to talk about heat, and the heat we get from the sun. See, if it wasn't for the sun, we would be so cold, our whole planet would turn into probably a big ball of ice. So the sun is very, very important, and from the sun we get heat. And heat does all sorts of things, from giving food to the plants, and the plants sucking in carbon dioxide and pouring out oxygen for us to breathe, to keeping this planet warm, and of course having the different seasons: winter, spring, autumn, summer. Now when it's winter, like it is now, it's really cold out here, Maddie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our planet is a bit further away from the sun, so because it's so far away from the sun, it's a bit chilly. But as our planet starts to get closer to the sun, as it moves around the sun, well, we start to get warmer, and it becomes spring, and then of course summer. So what we want to do now, we want to make some heat. So in here, this is my fire pit in my back garden. Now Maddie is going to use heat from this flint and steel. This makes a spark, and these hot sparks which produce heat will fall on this cotton wool and hopefully light the fire. Let's see if she does it right. So she really has to rub them together. If you rub your hands together, your hands get warm. Well, if Maddie rubs these two bits of metal together, they make sparks which are really, really warm. So if you get the sparks right in the middle, Maddie, hard as you can, that's it. So just try this. Try putting your hands together. Clap your hands and rub them really fast together, and your hands will get warm. You will produce heat. Well, this time we're going to produce heat from fire. So when we make the fire will begin to kind of smoulder. Is it a bit tricky?
Yeah.
Bit tricky, isn't it? The fire will begin to smoulder, and as the flames get bigger, they'll start to eat the cotton wool. And they make lots of energy. And the more energy, it's like you rubbing your hands together, it starts to produce heat. So we've got a tiny flame in here now. I'm going to feed it some more. So now the flame is starting to grow. Now, if you are ever by a fire, always move back. Never stay too close to a fire, because the fire produces heat. Now what you can see now is a flame. And in fact, the sun is a giant star, a giant ball of fire in space, in the sky, way, 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 miles and miles and miles away from us. But it's so hot that the heat travels through the solar energy, the heat travels through space to our planet and warms our planet. Just like me and Maddie are stood here now, and we can warm our hands. So we can feel the heat, say heat, Maddie,
Heat.
from the flames. These are the flames. The flames are eating the wood now. They're making lots more energy. So they're getting hotter and hotter, and they're producing heat. In fact, that can get so hot, we could cook things with this. In fact, should we cook something, Maddie? So Maddie, if you go get some cheese, a bit of ham, and maybe one of our wraps, and we can make a cheese and ham toasted wrap. Now, there's also something called ice. Now just think about this, ice. Now ice is frozen water. So when water gets really, really, really cold, it turns into ice. And if I put some ice, which was really, really, really cold, in maybe a pan, on top of this fire, with lots of heat coming off, what do you think would happen to the ice? Here's one for you, a little experiment you could do at home. Ask your adults at home if you could put some water in maybe a plastic cup or a cup, And then if you've got one of these at home, a freezer, put the water in the plastic cup or a cup in the freezer, leave it overnight, and I bet you that water will get so cold it could turn into ice. You could actually make ice in your own house. How cool is that? Then you can have a go at thinking of ways you could melt the ice, and one of them is using heat. Now, you've got to be careful using heat. Do this with an adult. Maybe get some warm water and pour on your ice and see if you can melt it. So there's so much heat in here. Maddie has brought out some food that she's going to cook. The heat is going to come up from the flames and it's going to cook the food. What have we got, Maddie? So look, we've got a wrap, bit of ham, some cheese. We're going to wrap it up tight. That's why it's called a wrap. And we're going to just fold it and fold it again. Is that all right, Matt? We're going to pop it on. Now, if you think about our sun is what makes the heat. And that heat comes through space all the way down to our planet. Now, I said earlier that at the moment we are in winter. Well, that means, like I said, our planet is a little bit further away from the sun. As the sun, huge ball of flame, is stuck where it just doesn't move. It just stays where it is. But our planet kind of moves around. So imagine I'm planet Earth. As I move around the sun, if I get a bit closer, oh, I'm really warm. But as I go around again and get a bit further away from the sun, oh, I'm a bit